How's everyone doing today? I hope great. I hope everyone's had a great weekend, a great week. This is the episode I've been looking forward to for, I want to say since the summer, since the honeymoon, since the idea popped in my head. This episode basically, it's gonna be a little different. Definitely gonna talk about love, red flags and green flags. Gonna talk about experience, and the guest that I'm gonna have is gonna make this episode so great. But she's wise, she's funny, she's goofy. She's been through enough in her time, and I think through her experience, a lot of people can learn. Mostly females can learn a lot from her, if not all, at least something. And so, with that said, let me introduce you to my guest.
The one and only Mrs. Garcia.
Oh Lord. I might be regretting this already. But with that said, welcome to the Royal Word Podcast. It's your boy King Felix, and as you see, I got the queen, the Mrs., the one, Miss Garcia, Mrs. Garcia, and this idea came to me in the honeymoon while we was out recording. I guess you could say vlog. And was out recording where we was at when we, every time we embarked up in one of the islands that we went to on a cruise. And I just thought it was very cool. At the time, I didn't have a topic. I just wanted to talk about our cruise. But as time went on, a lot of things went on. Things happened, and we talked and everything. I think the best thing we could talk about is like I said earlier, love. Red flags and green flags. And how experience can help you down the line. Because I tell you this now, we both been through our own things. We both have kids with previous marriages, and bringing a family together is not as easy as you think it is. Oh wait, it can be, but it's still tough because there's a lot of moving pieces involved. And what better person to talk about this with than the woman that I'm married with. So before we begin, which I want to start with the couples retreat that we went to in the summer, in the beginning of the summer. I'm going to let Mrs. Garcia here introduce herself since she's a first timer to the show. But she works on the background. She be in the background, I'll tell you that much. There's a lot of things that she be pointing out to me. Like last episode, how my IG was my old name, not the name it is now. So.
Ladies, it's in the details. We all know this. We pick up details before anything.
So I'm going to let her take over for a little bit. Go right ahead, babe. Do your thing.
So, we have an older son and a younger son. The oldest one is about to be 16. That's my son from a previous marriage. And the little one is about to be 10. That's his son from a previous marriage. There's so much to say. Let's see. We met in 2009. I was actually going through a divorce at the time to my first husband, my son's father. And the little one wasn't even born yet. Now that I think about it, right? Yeah, he wasn't born yet.
He wasn't even thought of.
Yeah, but it's funny because we met by a mutual friend that we both knew from high school. And before you ask, no, we don't speak to that person anymore, but that doesn't matter because it brought us together.
Facts.
So, yeah, we met actually at a club. Well, not really.
Nah,
it was Wet Willie's.
It was at a bar.
It was at a bar.
And for all my older folks and in y'all late 30s going to y'all 40s, y'all know what Wet Willie is now. We all had Cola Cabs and Supermans, okay? So there we go. That's what we met. So go ahead, continue.
So we met there. I was with the girl and her friend. We were celebrating her birthday. He was there with his best friend, who is still his best friend. And they ran into him and his best friend, and I was just hanging around with her, and we got introduced, and next thing you know, we ended up at a Greek club in the same spot, drinking and dancing. So that was our first encounter. And for the record, like, I wasn't looking for anything. I was just out having fun with the girls. Like I said, I was in the middle of a divorce. It was hard. I also got married at 19. So my son, I was pregnant, 6 months pregnant when we got married to my ex. So it was, it was a lot at a young age. So I grew up quick. But yeah, he, I don't know, we clicked, we hung out, and we exchanged numbers, and then from there we stayed friends, really. And actually that's the basis of our marriage and relationship. Is our foundation started off as running and drinking and hanging out and
amongst other things.
Yeah, amongst other things, hooking up, I guess you would call it. But we stayed friends for a very long time. And when I say that, I moved out of the county at one point. I was gone for a year, and then I came back. He disappeared, and I don't mean disappear like physically, like he disappeared like contact-wise, over and over. I used to call him Casper, like Casper the ghost.
As black as I am.
Well, that wasn't the point. The point is he went ghost. So, but I had my own things, he had his own life, and we stayed in contact though over the time, and then he went through his own thing with his previous wife, which I have already gone through on my own. By then my kid was older, and his kid was just, experiencing life now. So, and it's brought us now that we have a blended family, and like he said earlier, it's a lot of challenges, but it's fun. It's fun because the oldest and the little one, they click so well, and the three of them are the biggest anime geeks, PlayStation, whatever, nerds, everything you can think of.
Video
it's great.
Games.
Yes,
PlayStation.
Oh, well, whatever. You know what I mean.
Video games.
Anyways, like I said, geek. Three of them. So it was good. And as far as being the only female in a house of boys, I gotta say I love it. I like to be the only queen, to be honest. The next thing that would be a queen would be a dog. Just saying.
Probably.
Just saying. But yeah, so now here we are. We're married. We've been dating. Oh yeah, I got you can't really see it, but I got the Wonder Woman wedding band. We've been married for 4 months now. I think 4 months just hit.
Yeah.
On the 22nd of July. Yeah, 4 months. But we didn't been together for 3 years, but we've known each other for about a good 15 years or more. So it's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs, not necessarily just in a relationship, but like on our own personal journeys. So it's brought a lot for us perspective wise. And being that we each came from a previous marriage, I know on my part, there's a lot of things that I don't want to do in this marriage because it wasn't working, or how I was at the time. And also I gotta say, the previous marriage, and I had a previous relationship that was a toxic 5-year relationship. I didn't like who I was. I lost myself. And in our relationship, I feel like I could be myself, and no judgments, no nothing. So it's been great.
So as you said before, previous marriages and when it comes to a blended family, so I personally grew up. I didn't grow up with my father. My father was a deadbeat, was a no-show, that sort of thing. And my mom was married for a long time to someone, and he never treated me as I was his son. I mean, I was a stepson, but I never got that guidance, that father and son treatment, that someone that you look up to, that man that you look up to, that will guide a young man through his mistakes, through his trials and errors and tribulations and all that good thing. So I knew coming into the relationship who I needed to be as a man to the oldest, and I know that feeling of being in a household and the man that's there doesn't necessarily acknowledge you or kind of just do things to shoo you away. So to me, the biggest thing being in a relationship was building a relationship with her child. Was the oldest, which is that's my boy. You know what I mean? And I don't treat him any differently than I treat my own biological son. They both get the same treatment. different levels, of course, but same treatment. And also, to me, one of the biggest things, what I'll talk about more later, which I did in the previous episode, was learning the difference of how to spend time with both of them. Even though all three of us love the same thing, even though we all love anime and video games, the interests in life are still different between both of them. The oldest getting into the sports, football, he's working out, getting strong. And, my youngest is still running around, just want to be active and all that other stuff. So I had to learn how to balance. Thank you. See, that's why she's here. Balance, my time with them and knowing what's up. Which, by the way, I have been going to the gym. She could testify. He could testify. I got videos of me and him working out. Is one of the dopest times in my life. To sit here and this kid that I've seen since he was small grow up, and I can see him build himself and getting ready to get into a new journey, into the transformation and everything. It's just dope being in the gym with him, and I couldn't ask for anything else at this very moment because it was just so dope. With that said, this leads into the couples retreat.
Yeah.
A couples retreat was a gift that was given to us by family members when we got engaged, right?
Yeah, it was presented to us. We got engaged in 2021?
No, 2022.
Okay, so we got engaged in 2022, but he bought the ring in 2021. Matter of fact, he bought the ring on the oldest birthday. Our oldest son, it was his birthday, and he bought the ring at that time. But I didn't know about it. I was the only one who didn't know.
Hey, when you know, you know.
So that's why I say 2021. No, okay,
and we wasn't living together yet either.
No, we weren't yet, because we got together as far as living together, and this is our first place together. In March 2021. Wait, right? No, 2022. I don't know.
No, it was. No.
This is the second year, babe. Okay, so in October 2021 is when he bought the ring, because that's when my oldest that's when his birthday is in October, and he already had it. But March the following year, which is 2022, is when we moved in together. Remember, because our lease is in March. So in July of 2022, we got engaged.
Makes sense.
We're in 2023 now. When you have to break it down.
It makes sense now.
Okay, so in July of 2022 is when we got engaged. That Thanksgiving, matter of fact, was when the gift was presented to us, the couples retreat, as our family wanted to give it to us, and by the way, couples retreats are not for people necessarily if you're having problems, you're not having problems, if you've been married 50 years, if you've been married 5 years, if you've been married 5 months, if you're not even married. It's actually for all couples. It's just to strengthen what you have, your foundation, your relationship, if you have kids, if you don't have kids, if you're talking about kids. It's really, they touch bases on everything, and so we looked into it. We really liked what it was about, and yeah, they paid for us to go to it. So out here, we live in Florida, so the nearest one for us was Orlando. So we took a weekend, and it's a whole Friday evening, Saturday all day, and Sunday. And I gotta say that for the first time, at least for me, that whole weekend, I barely touched my phone. We had so many great conversations, and what's nice about it is the couples retreat. People think, oh, well, you go to couples retreat and everybody, you have to interact with other couples, so it's we're in a group singing Kumbaya or something. Not at all. And they tell you that there was over 1,000 people, I think,
and the oldest couple there was 55 years together. 55 years together. Now that right there, to me, is God sent. That was a blessing. This was pretty dope. I ain't gonna lie to you. 50 years of dealing with the same craziness. Fellas, y'all know what I'm talking about. You feel me?
Listen, he picked the crazy. You know what you're getting into. It
is wild, but it's pretty dope to see, though, that type of love still exists. So, well, go ahead, continue. Sorry.
Oh, well, I was going to say, and he thought we were going to be the youngest couple, too. He's like, man, we're going to be the youngest couple. And we weren't. There were people there that were probably just as young, if not younger. There were people there that got married, I think, even like we got married in March. The couples retreat was in June, like the first weekend of June of this year, 2023. And there was people that just had gotten married, I think, in April. There was like 2 couples, and they were young. But it was so nice because, like I said, it's not about you do these activities that they have, and they have you, you know, sit and what's the word? I guess have these conversations, and it's all kinds of subjects with other couples. No, you do it with each other. Like everything that you learn or you speak about, they present it to you, but you take the time out to talk to each other about that particular subject.
What was the name of the retreat?
Family Life event. Family Life event, and you can actually Google it. I think it should come up. If not, you can always comment or send messages.
I'll make sure I put it down.
Yeah, because it's definitely, it is considered a Christian couples retreat, and I'm glad. You know, I don't call us hardcore religious Catholics or what. We don't have a name for it. But we do believe in God. We do believe in things of the Bible. So, you know, I mean, if it's not for you, if it is for you, and it's just it's worth looking into. I say this. It's yes, it's a you want to say it's a Christian retreat, but they don't sit here and force feed you religion on you. It's more just a relationship between you and your partner, and you know, of course, how God is involved, but it's more about opening up to your partner. It's more about communication, and they take scriptures. That's what it is. They take
scriptures from the Bible and they put it in certain parts, and they sit there and they speak. And they had an older couple, which he was amazing. They were amazing together. And then they had a younger couple. I want to say about probably our age, mid-30s. And you know, it was cool because it was good to see an older couple be together for so long, and everything, and how so in sync they are together. Well, we're together there. And then it's good to see the younger couple because we're around the same age. So a lot of the things that probably they struggle with or we're going through be the same for us. And I love it because we got there Friday. We went to the room, put our things away, and boom, straight over there. And then after that, we got out, we chilled together, just us. I think we just touched the phone to call our kids and just say, I love you, whatever, good night, leave us alone. And then, so, and then throughout the week, there was just so much. And I think the very next day, which was Saturday, I think it started at 9. And from 9 to 4 o'clock, was in these things with breaks in between, of course. The couple retreat wasn't only for people who have been in long relationships and they struggling. It's also for me and her and for others like us who just recently married and we're able to attack things before they happen and be able to see some things that we weren't seeing. Because of how long we knew each other and so forth and so on. So there's a lot of things we overlooked, and it was helpful because our date night was helpful. They gave us a homework where we had to ask questions and write down and all that.
Write a letter to each other.
We had to write a letter to each other. There was one with questions. I still got those, by the way.
I know.
Somewhere around here, which I'm going to do with her, but. We wrote a letter to each other, and that there was so dope. I haven't wrote a letter since high school, so that was cool. And then we went out to eat. We went out to a food truck place out there and stuff. But yeah, we were able to learn things about each other. But the biggest thing for us was the blended family, because that's what we are. We're a family that have kids from previous marriages, and you know, and it talks about how all that could bring so much, because we talking about our kids from different marriages, and then their other side of the family being part of this, and how, you know, I need to, you know, how we both have to communicate with my son's mother, and one of the good things, we don't got to communicate with her son's father because he ain't around. So you know, that's a whole aspect we don't got to deal with. But there's a lot of things that we were already doing that we didn't know we was doing. And it's good to know that we were doing good things already. And then we got to learn some other things that when those certain scenarios pop up, we're able to approach them correctly.
Yeah, differently than maybe you would approach them.
Yeah, because I'm one of the biggest things for me that I'm working on, and I even told her this week. I've been working hard on not being controlled by my emotions, but me controlling my emotions. And there's a lot of things that's been happening now in a professional standing where that has to come into an effect, because I've done the whole let the emotions control me and it's led nowhere. Over and over, I let the emotions control me and it's led to just downfall. And not doing that now, because life is great now. I have a wonderful, wonderful queen next to me at times.
At times? Okay.
But no.
You sound like he's on camera.
No, but hey, she's been great.
Nah.
And she's been there for me. And it makes it easier because she's seen me in my lowest point, in my most heartbreaking moments, and vulnerable moments, and now she's here at my highest moments. I mean, there's a lot of great things that have been happening the past couple of years for me. So, yeah. So it's to be able to go to that couples retreat, and us to be able to talk and you know, be able to say what we don't like, what we do like, without it turning into a shouting match.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Communication.
You know, without turning into like a big old shouting match. Just sit down and be like, look, man, this is what's up. Which she also did in the honeymoon, which we'll talk to later. But I love how she approaches me. She approaches me calmly and talks to me, let me know what's up. You know, and I sit back, I chill, I think about a lot of the stuff, and then I go talk to her and give her my reply. But I think that's one of the biggest things between me and her. I think that's amazing, is how we can communicate.
Yeah.
And besides how much she loves me. I mean, she loves me. I mean, look, she's on the show. She's on the podcast. I mean,
he's not wrong.
She's on the podcast.
He's
I
not
mean,
wrong.
There's some kind of love out here, you know what I mean?
But you know what? He's right, though. Not to, well, yeah, to brag. But, yeah, because how much I love him, and like we said, we both came from previous marriages, it's different. It's different in a sense of I learned the communication. There's certain things that I didn't want to resort to like I used to when I get angry or upset, and like you said, becoming scream match, because I've been down that road and it has led to nothing but just more headache, more heartache, and it didn't resolve anything. As a matter of fact, I spent 5 years in that type of relationship that I finally realized it's not for me, it's not what I want, it's not who I want to be. And not, to be honest, when we first moved in together, it was a trial. Well, at least for me, I didn't know he bought the engagement ring, but for me, I looked at it like the end goal, yes, is marriage, but I need to be able to live with you without killing you first. Just saying.
I already knew.
Just saying, because I've already lived with 2 previous men, my ex-husband and then my 5-year toxic relationship. I lived with them both. He's lived with only his youngest mother, and so I had that experience, and in both of those times, I didn't like how I handled things, and I didn't like who I was. I didn't like who the people I was with, who I'm not saying made me, but I felt angrier, I guess is a way to describe it. So yeah, for like he said, the amount of love that I have for him is beyond anything that I've experienced, and it could be the foundation of our friendship that started that. I'm not really sure, but something in me always said before even the retreat is I want to do this differently. I want to do this differently. I don't want to do this how I used to. My son has seen the worst in all of my relationships, and I feel like that's not fair to him, because like you said, his father's not involved by his choice, not mine. And that's unfortunate because my son is going on 16 years old, and you know, every boy needs, if not their father, a man, a figure, and Felix has been that since the beginning. Even before we got living together, he was there for my son. My son broke his clavicle in the 8th grade, and I was living at my mom's house still while he was living with his parents, and he would come over every day after work and help my son shower, because at, I think, what was he, 12, 13? You know, what boy wants to take a shower with their mom, you know, standing there, because he couldn't move. Like, it was the hardest time of my life with seeing my son hurt, and he was there through it all. He came, he checked on me in that month. I think it was rough. It was really rough. And he did a lot for me, you know, and he even showed my mom too that, yo, I'm here. Like, I'm here for her. I'm here for him. And he's just, because he's not my biological child, he's, you know, no different than my youngest. And that meant a lot to me, because that showed me what every other man, including my son's father, couldn't show me. You know, as a woman in a relationship or marriage, you look to a man as protection. That's one, at least for me. Providing, yes, but protection has always been, and that security has been the biggest thing for me. And I felt like in every relationship I've been to prior to this one, I've always felt like I'm the male, or the alpha they call it, in the relationship. Like, I had to take care of everything, and with him it's different. So I looked at it like, you know, I want to do things differently, because I do have a bad temper. It's come out a few times, but I've also learned to, we both learned to kind of not, you know, resort back to our old ways with previous people we've had a relationship with. And so when I come to him, where I point out certain things, sometimes I like to write it. And as far as text, that's my go-to. I feel like sometimes when he's impossible to talk to, and he can be impossible to talk to, so all I feel like is I want to be like, but it makes no difference, because even if I was to be that way, what I'm trying to point out to him or show him, you know, what needs to be reflected on, it's not going to get nowhere, because he's in an emotional state and I'm in an emotional state because I'm upset. So I learned with him, and for myself, it's easier to get my words out in the way I want them to come out is if I write them. If I write them, whether you write them physically in a letter, or for me, I like to message him. I message him long messages, you know, and I just ask him to reflect on things, and then to get back at me when he's ready to talk, because I learned too, I had a previous ex who always pushed for right now. We need to talk about this right now. We need to solve this right now. And I'm not ready, because I'm angry. I'm in an angry state. So why are you going to push me to talk to you when I don't even want to look at you? So, and I didn't like that. I don't like being told what to do and my feelings being invalidated when I'm not ready. So with him and I, we, you know, I think we talk to each other when we're both in a calm state, or when we're both ready to come forward, then we will. And that's how we go. It works for us, you know, that's how we go about it. But communication, and it's not what you say, it's how you say it sometimes too. That's the biggest thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, we there's no best way to put it. There's no reason to be shy when it comes, at least to your loved ones. Mm-hmm. Like, she has no problem expressing how she feels, and I have no problem expressing how I feel. And yeah, she's right. Sometimes I am a pain in the ass, hard to talk to. But those are the things that I've always talked about, like in that journey of embetterment, to be better in a lot of places, and that's one of them. I work on a lot of things every day, and there's times where I get frustrated. There's times where there's other things that's not have to do with relationship stuff that seems to leak in, and and that you're not supposed to let happen. You know, that's why when I'm feeling some type of way, I'm quick to, if I'm at work, I mean,
he texts me.
I text him real quick how I'm feeling. Oh, when I come home, I just be letting everything go. I'm about to curse, but I just let everything go. And then when you know, I tell her and then she replies, I just be like, so how was your day? Like, I you know, I learned how to come home and talk to her. So like that, all that negative energy outside that I had to deal with on a daily, you know, on a daily, all of the negative energy I had to deal with that day. When I talk to her, we make jokes, we chill, and then like there's no friction between us. Now I'm gonna say we perfect. There's times when we have plenty of frictions. Cause sometimes she can be a pain in the ass. If she says she wants to choke me or whatever, I want to karate kick her sometimes. Just knock her head off her shoulders, just bam. You know what I mean? But I think that's part of the relationship. That's part of love, because at the end of the day, it's not like I'm out here texting the next person. You feel me? Like, I'm out here texting the next chick or whatever the case is. At the end of the night, I'm still coming to bed, going to sleep. At the end of the night, I'm still saying I love you. I'm kissing her on the forehead. She probably fell asleep before me. So, we still here, regardless of whatever. And it's one of those things where, you know, like I mentioned in the beginning, where red flags and green flags, right? We're here, and I saw this on IG. I forgot the guy's name, but we always talk about red flags. We talk about what's toxic. We talk about what's bad or whatever the case is, but no one ever talks about the green flags. No one ever talks about the love. No one ever talks about the happiness. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually, mentally, physically. And there's more of that with us than it is red flags. And then the red flags is something that's always been there, that we've been know of, and it's something that we talked about how we want to fix and what we want to do. So they're not hidden red flags. They're like, oh my God, I never knew this. Nah.
But I think too, why society pressures, like the memes and everything you see on social media, the red flags, it's like they put so much emphasis on that. And the thing is, I mean, I don't allow social media to, delegate how we are. I mean, I see a lot of friends who are my age or his age or mid-30s or older or younger who allow social media to basically kind of how their relationship is. And the reason I say that is because, people are quick to be in a relationship and, I'm going to tell him his red flags, like put it in his face and throw it like, these are your red flags. You shut down when you do this and you do that. And that's what it's always you. And it's not supposed to be like that. Those things are there. We know they're there. We each have our own red flags, but instead of you are this person or you are that, it's like, okay, how can I handle this to help this person? Or how can I present this where, you have a habit of doing this, I don't know if you realize. And that's actually things that we talked about on the cruise. Those were one of the instances where I felt like I couldn't, well, it was leading up to it, but I felt like I couldn't talk to him in the moment about certain things I wanted to talk to him, and not even on the cruise. I wanted to talk to him later on afterwards because we had a nice little big boy conversation with our youngest because he's about to be 10. And there was just some things I wanted just to point out, but he was being a pain in the butt over other things, and I couldn't do it anymore. So I took the morning to eat breakfast by myself, and I wrote him the words I wanted to say to him. And I feel like he couldn't absorb those words or take a moment to understand if I talked to him, because we were like this, like it's like the sky is purple but it's blue but it's gray. We were all over the place, so it was just easier to write it out. And I got to sit with my thoughts, and I rewrote certain things. Like I would read it and rewrite it and read it and rewrite it, because I don't like to use, when I do things like that and point things out to him, I don't like to use, you have a tendency to do this, you are this. Like I put out, examples, like, this is how you responded to me because of X, Y, and Z was done, or when X, Y, and Z was done, this was your reaction. But I don't like to point that finger, because it's like I said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And how you say it is how it's better received, is the best way to put it. And because I know if I was in his position, or if I, been in his position, I won't want someone to sit me and tell me like, you this and that, because all I'm going to hear is negativity. And I feel like you're just telling me either what's wrong with me, or like I said, the red flags are being thrown in the face. So it's more of a just being able to express yourself without making the other person feel bad about themselves, because you shouldn't. I'm sure they feel bad already once they realize that you've seen all these things, but that's why you're supposed to work together and communicate better. And the green flags, like they said, no one talks about the green flags. Like I'm a pain in the butt, but honestly, I think the more headstrong one, I want to say, in a sense of angry. He's the calmer one. And the way it works with us, and that is like, there's times he has seen me lost my stuff, where to the point where he'll come in and he'll touch me, and I'll be like, don't touch me. And it's not that it's personally with him, it's just that I'm in a state of anger and rage that I don't want to say or do something that's gonna hurt him when it had nothing to do with him. And it happened here in this room. I've come home upset for a month. I think it was straight, a month or two. And
it was a tough month.
It was. And I wasn't easy, but I also knew that what I was going through had nothing to do with our relationship, meaning he didn't cause the problem or the things I was dealing with. So I had to learn to kind of like tell him, I need you to give me a moment, because I'm going to lose my ish, basically. And
for men, you know what I'm saying, or we need to learn how to read that. It's not an ego thing. So her telling me that she needs some time, she need to chill because she's so pissed off with so much going on. I ain't take that to like, damn, she didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, she ain't trying to talk to me. Like, nah, I closed the door and I want to play some video games. And then I told the kids, hey, yo, she ain't with it right now. Just let her be.
Let it calm down.
But that's what a partnership is here for. When your partner's at the lowest, that's when you at the highest. And you just look out and just hold everything on the shoulders and do what you're supposed to do. Now, as men, I don't care what anybody tell me, that's what we're supposed to do. We look out. Because the queen's going to do the same thing too. Because when I've been at my lowest, and like I see in the action, yo, could you do this for me? Man, she did things way and beyond before I even could ask something, like she read my mind. So we got to do the same thing and not take everything so personal. And then I think that one of the biggest things for me was, and I think that's what every man, probably every man, but I know for me was, I try to be Mr. Fix-It for everything. Mr. Fix-It for everything. That's what got me cursed out. I'm trying to be Mr. Fix-It for everything. Yeah. And then that's just some things that we can't fix because there's nothing for us to fix. It's not a man thing. Like, we ain't caused that, so we can't go fix it. You know what I'm saying? What we can do, which is be part of the healing process. Mm-hmm. So, you know, whenever she did calm down, whenever she went through emotions, because I know her, she don't like crying in front of people. So, you know, so I'm not gonna get the tears in my shoulder. I mean, I probably will, but you know, it's one of those things where she needs to process it herself first. Yeah. And then when she talks through it, she gonna do the little breakdown that she do with her voice, because I hear the breakdown sometimes. But I listen, and if she needs advice, I give advice, and if she don't need advice, then I just shut my ass up, and I just keep listening, and that's all I keep doing is keep listening and be there, because sometimes that's all they need. They just need a vent, and listen, you can vent to me, it's cool, I'm there, and then that's what it's about. It's a teamwork thing, but I struggle with that. Struggled because now I know what's up, but
it took a little bit.
But you know, it's a thing of But that's what relationship is, though. It's a learning process. You're not gonna find out everything right away. Even though I had the ring very early, by the way.
You did. Which was a shock to me.
It's still a thing of a learning process. But in my head, I already knew that I was willing to go through the downs. We all willing to go through the ups. We want the ups. We want the ups all day. That's nothing. You feel me? Like she said, it's very easy. Mm-hmm. But I was willing to go through the downs. There was no like, oh, she acting up. Let me highlight option B. There was no option B, C, D. There's only A, and A was the queen right here next to me.
And if you do need to go holler at option A, B, then you need to question yourself why you're in this relationship or marriage. Facts. Because you're wasting your time and the other person's time. And I've seen it. I've experienced it in my first marriage. I've experienced it in my last 5-year toxic relationship. On both occasions, when we were in our downs, who did they go to? The next chick who was around. And I found out about it, and it hurts, and it was a waste of my time. Not a waste of my time, I guess it was a learning experience, a lesson learned. I can't say a waste of my time in some sense, because I took a lot from those two relationships, and basically everything that we're going through now. And by the way, we have more ups than downs. Like, you know, it's normal for couples to fight. It's not normal if your downs are higher than your ups, to be honest. I don't care what anyone says. Love, yes, is hard. Relationships are hard. Marriages may be hard, but it's not supposed to be. And if you're in a relationship where you find it harder and harder, then you need to question yourself why you're in it, or what can be done to fix it. And it takes two of you. So if one's not willing to work on it, then you need to figure out what to do for yourself. Whether you're the woman or the man, doesn't matter. What's the point of going to, like he said, option A, B, when I'm here, but I'm going through something, so you don't think that the next person you go with is not going to have problems, or you're not going to have problems. Like, that's just life. But we live in a society, unfortunately, where it's too easy to slide in someone else's DMs. It's too easy to talk to a coworker. You know, it's too easy to do all these things, and then instead of just talking to the person you should be talking to, you know, like, yeah, we're not perfect. We need our own time. We need our own time, sometimes separate, to take time to decompress. But at the end of the day, like, there's no one I'd rather come home to and then tell him, you know, everything that's going on, everything that I'm dealing with, because I trust him. I trust him with my heart, and that's not easy. That's not easy. It took some time. Even, I mean, speaking for myself, from the previous 2 relationships, he'll tell you when we first moved in, the certain things that we handled, like, I was standoffish in certain things. I don't think I was expressive as much, I guess you could say, right, babe? Because I was scared. I was scared, not of him. I was scared of the same reactions I've gotten in the past. Because the same reactions I've gotten in the past from previous relationship with previous men is either my words would get twisted around, and, you know, it's like, instead of me telling you something, you're turning my words around and making them mean something that they don't. And I felt, you know, that was all basically trauma type things, you could call that. So I had to learn to let go of those hurts so that I could let him in, and I did. It took time, and I think with him too. It was the same way, you know. He's not used to, I want to say, baby, you weren't used to talking or opening up, I want to say.